I think that Jeffree should make a comment to the handicap community and apologize and to make fun of people who have AIDS or to remark about it. Maybe Jeffree does have AIDS. I don't know. But for him to say it as, I have AIDS, bitch. Mango tea. Made in China, bitch. Hi, drama poodle. Oh, Daddy loves you so much. You look so pretty after you got groomed. Daddy missed you and all of his viewers missed you as well. While you were gone, did you get any drama for Daddy? You did? Oh my goodness, drama poodle. Tell Daddy the drama. Oh my goodness, drama poodle. I had no idea about that. Thank you for telling Daddy the drama. Bitch, drama poodle was just telling me the latest scandal involving Jeffree Star. Did Jeffree insult handicap people? As well as, does Jeffree Star have AIDS?
He said it, not me.
We have all the tea here for you today, so put on your seatbelts, buckle up. We're going for a ride today. Cue the video. Hey girl, and welcome to Mango Tea. If you're new here, my name is Steven Mango. I'm a drama channel. I expose YouTubers. We talk about the beauty community and beauty drama. So if you want to stay up to date on all things YouTube, go down below and click on that subscribe button as well as that little bell icon. That's going to notify you when I make a new video so you stay up to date on all the latest happenings on YouTube. So without further ado, let's get right on into today's video. It seems like almost every single week there is some scandal involving Jeffree Star. Does Jeffree just calculate these different situations? Is this all a public relations stunt? Or are these really authentic, actual situations that happen with Jeffree Star? I don't necessarily know the answer to that because I don't personally know Jeffree Star. I'm not his manager. I don't have any inside source to Jeffree Star other than what you and I see on the internet. But it's just really alarming to me what goes on with Jeffree because you would think someone who's a public figure should really just make sure that they're on their best behavior. And you would think, why doesn't Jeffree learn from his past behaviors, his past remarks, and different things that have actually set him back? We all know, even though he apologized, and I do believe people deserve a second chance and deserve to be heard out, but after his racist scandal and stuff like that, Jeffree did suffer a very large setback, whether it was with his subscribers or fans, or just public uproar about Jeffree actually making such remarks. And ever since then, every so often, there seems to be some type of drama or scandal surrounding Jeffree Star. Now, I personally really do like Jeffree Star. I watch his channel, I like his makeup, I like all things Jeffree Star. But I don't sometimes like the person that Jeffree Star is behind the scenes. And I definitely think there is a different person who appears on camera to us than who may actually be behind the scenes. But think about all the power you have with your platform when you have 5 million plus subscribers, when you have a makeup company. Someone like Jeffree is in the public eye. So it's just really confusing to me why someone like Jeffree doesn't just watch himself a little bit more. I don't necessarily think he needs to be a role model for anyone, and that's not what I'm saying. I understand that from the perspective of I could only imagine the pressure of being a star like Jeffree Star and having to feel like I have to behave a certain way or act a certain way because other people are looking up to me. And no, not all celebrities are role models. Just because they're on YouTube or on television, that doesn't necessarily make the person morally perfect or make the person above us in any sort of way. But it just seems like sometimes the behavior of Jeffree Star, I really just question. I really do wonder though, if Jeffree does feel like he's better than everyone else because he has a lot of money and power and wealth and fame, and it really does seem like from his channel that he's really grateful. He even talked about, I think it was last week or something, how he was just crying, and almost daily how he's just reminded for all the amazing blessings and things that come into his life. I really feel like he needs to keep that into perspective because he was homeless a number of years ago and he really did get a big opportunity with YouTube. So I feel like we're all really rooting for Jeffree Star, and I really hope that he makes better decisions in the future and he really does look and realize, oh, I am someone who needs to be careful of what I say, what I do, and how I treat people, because he can lose it all just like that. So this takes us to the situation that just recently happened. So I was on social media and I came across a post from Perez Hilton. Now, I don't follow Perez's blog or a lot of the different like celebrity mainstream sort of stuff, but I happened to come across this post because it was relating to Jeffree Star. Now, Perez reposted this post from another person who had an encounter with Jeffree Star. So I'm going to show and read to you the post that Perez reposted onto his Instagram story. Mr. Diva parked in handicap spot at the Jack in the Box in Malibu. No handicap sticker or plate, and when questioned why he parked there, he said, "I have AIDS, bitch. Sir, if you do suffer from this virus, I wish you the best and I do apologize. Hashtag Mr. Diva, hashtag Jeffree Star." And here are some of the comments that were left on the post. The Perez Hilton. That's awful. Steffi Byrne, at Perez Hilton. Seems like a bot to me. No other posts, though it's totally believable. Nick Deuce, at Jeffree Star. Crying face, crying face, crying face. Ida Truth Teller. Definitely not a bot. I started this Instagram account specifically to post this. I seriously wondered if he was handicapped. Weaving up PCH and pulled in the handicap spot. At first I was concerned, but then realized something seems amiss, since there was no handicap signage on his car. So let me preface this before I give you guys my thoughts and opinions. So with handicaps, not all handicaps are visible by the eye, and I think you and I both know that. There are mental handicaps, there are other things that you may not necessarily be able to see. Someone could have a problem with their lungs, which may affect them being able to, say, park in a normal parking spot, for example. Or someone may have an eye condition, and someone may not necessarily see that on the person because it's not like a broken leg. And I think that a lot of people are judgmental, and they're very naive, and they look at things on the surface and may say, well, that person's not in a wheelchair, for example, or they don't have a broken leg or some sort of disfigurement, so why do they have a handicap parking spot? But this isn't the case with Jeffree Star, because Jeffree didn't actually show an actual handicap placard either on the window, which you can do in California, or on the license plate. It appeared to me and to this poster that Jeffree was just going to this restaurant either to pick up food or to sit down and dine in. Whatever the case was, Jeffree went and parked his pink Lamborghini or Rolls Royce, whatever the car actually is. He went in and pulled in the closest spot, which was the handicap parking spot. Now, we're going to get to the comment of Jeffree Star mentioning the AIDS. That's a whole nother situation we're going to be talking about, honey. But right now, let's just talk about the parking pass. So for me, I was just really curious, what kind of conditions would qualify someone for a handicap placard in California? So this is what I found out. Who qualifies for a disabled person parking placard or DP license plate? You may qualify for a DP placard or DP license plate if you have impaired mobility due to having lost use of one or more lower extremities or both hands, or have a diagnosed disease that substantially impairs or interferes with mobility, or one who is severely disabled to be unable to move without the aid of an assistive device. You may also qualify if you have specific documented visual problems, including lower vision or partial sightedness. Here on the disability application form, you can see some other qualification points, including a lung disease, a diagnosed disease or disorder which substantially impairs or interferes with mobility, a severe disability in which the person is unable to move without the aid of an assistive device, a significant limitation in the use of lower extremities, the loss of use of one or more lower extremities, or the loss of use of both hands. Lastly, WebMD lists common conditions in order to qualify for the handicap placard, including lung disease, heart disease, substantially impaired mobility, for example, use of a wheelchair, brace, or cane, a disease that significantly limits your ability to walk or to use your legs, documented vision problems, including low vision or partial sightedness, and loss of one or both legs, or loss of both hands, or limited use of these parts. Now, again, I'm not Jeffree Star's doctor, neither are you guys, and only Jeffree Star knows about his own health conditions. So I don't want to necessarily say anything or make an assumption or say he's not handicapped or anything like that, because we honestly don't know. I don't know Jeffree Star, I don't know his family, I don't know any of the ins and outs of Jeffree Star, other than what I see online. Again, I have to preface this because I don't want anyone to take what I'm saying in the wrong way. I'm just speculating on all all of this. There very well may be people who do have a handicap who do drive a exotic sports car. I don't know. And again, I'm not going to speculate on Jeffree's health in that way. But given the guidelines of the different conditions that you have to qualify for in order to get one of those handicap passes, for example, your lower extremities, being like your legs, you may have an issue with. I just don't actually see any physical signs, personally, that Jeffree would need a handicap placard. Now, there are mental handicaps out there, as we know, but I don't think, in my opinion, that that qualifies someone to get a parking space that's closer than the rest. I would think of a handicap pass being for someone who has an actual physical condition, their leg, their foot, they're having eye conditions, or they're blind, or there's certain conditions where I feel like you need to have a handicap pass. For me, what this seems like is Jeffree was just lazy and wanted to go get his takeout food and just parked his car wherever he pleases, because I feel like a lot of these YouTube stars have this entitlement problem, that they feel like they are the best, that they are the most special person out there in the world, where we're all people in this world. So not one person's better than someone else just because someone's on YouTube and has 5 million subscribers versus someone who may have 20,000. I don't really necessarily see the difference because we're all on the same platform. Now, Jeffree Star may very well be the most humble, down-to-earth person out there. But, I mean, the humble people that I know don't go driving Lamborghinis that are customized pink and have pink Gucci in their house and just live a life of lavish and luxury. But, again, he worked for it. And if that was me and I had that much money, I would probably have some very nice, luxurious items. But I don't know. I just feel like Jeffree felt entitled in order to take this handicapped person's spot, when what if there was someone who actually needed it? What if someone actually had a limitation which required them to have that spot, and Jeffree, who didn't have a handicap license plate, did not actually have any placard, never discussed personally having any form of a handicap, goes and parks in a handicapped spot, which could have prevented someone else from maybe patronizing that business, being able to go to dinner or lunch or whatever it was. I just feel like it's very selfish for someone like Jeffree to go and take someone's handicapped spot when they may actually need it. And he's being selfish where he can maybe go and walk the extra 2 feet, but he just feels like, oh, I'm very special and important, so I can park wherever I damn well please, when I just feel super bothered by someone who would go and take a handicapped spot. I had a friend, maybe when I was a teenager, go and park in a handicapped spot and used his grandmother's pass, and that's actually illegal. It's actually handicap fraud, and there are a lot of fines that you can face by doing something such as that. But we have to look out for people who are physically injured or who do have permanent handicaps that we have to be able to respect and not park in their spot. Now, I wouldn't personally go and park in someone's handicapped space. There's actually fines that you can face in California for just merely parking in that space. California state law has the minimum fine for parking in a disabled parking space at $250, with the maximum held at $500. But to someone like Jeffree Star, is $250 to $500 really anything in the grand scheme of his income or his bank account? I'm sure it wouldn't actually be a fine of significance for him if he actually got fined for being in that handicapped space. So, the person who actually took the photo of Jeffree in the handicapped space actually went to talk to Jeffree and confront him for parking in the handicapped space. So, when the person brought up to Jeffree that he was parked in the handicapped space, Jeffree said, "I have AIDS, bitch." For a gay man, especially, to talk about AIDS in a degrading way, when in the 80s and maybe even early 90s, there was a period where gay men were getting AIDS because there wasn't any sort of like the treatment or medicines and things that are out there now, like modern medicine, that actually help people who say have HIV, for example, to stop it from progressing into AIDS. And if you were gay back then and you contracted, say, HIV, for example, it did progress into AIDS. and so many people died. It is just astronomical, the amount of people who did contract HIV, got AIDS, and died. So many people lost their loved ones, and it was something that nowadays is preventable because there is medicines and stuff to stop people from getting AIDS. And there are medicine. I don't want to make it seem like it's just gay people specifically who do get HIV and AIDS. But for me, I just feel like it's just very ignorant when, especially when you're gay, that so many people died during this AIDS crisis. I know family members, for example, who had to care for people who got AIDS because of the lack of medical treatment for that. So for him just to say so nonchalantly, wearing a Gucci tracksuit, driving a pink luxury car that probably costs $1 million, to say, I have AIDS, bitch, I think that is so inconsiderate. It's so hurtful to so many people who may have lost someone to the AIDS epidemic 20 to 30 years ago. And I just feel like for him to joke about that, it's not something to joke about. Maybe for Jeffree, maybe Jeffree just lives his picture-perfect life. He wakes up in his grand luxurious house, in his bed, he has all these luxury items, when there's some people who actually are very sick. Maybe people who do have AIDS. Maybe just other people out there who just want to have a hot meal, for example. And Jeffree Star wakes up and just has this life of luxury pampering. He has anything he could ever want, and he could pretty much stop YouTube today, never make another video again, and he probably has enough money to live a very cushy, luxurious lifestyle that not many people get to live. And I'm not saying that Jeffree doesn't donate to charity or doesn't do other good things for people, but to go and to quip at someone and say, I have AIDS, bitch, of all things to say, you could say, it's a private matter, struggling with something personally, that's a handicap, or who are you to judge me, or whether or not I'm handicapped. I would understand an answer like that, and that's taking the bigger position. But why does Jeffree always have to go for the low blow? Why does Jeffree always have to be right? Why does Jeffree always have to have one of these smart remarks? And why does he talk down to people? And I'm sure the person who confronted him was just honestly trying to look out for the other people in the community who may be disabled, who may be handicapped, who may actually need to park in that spot. And instead of Jeffree being understanding, because it looked like a very small parking lot, it's not like he had to walk 100 miles, I'm sure he could have just backed out his car, pulled it in the spot to the right, and things would have been fine. Am I overreacting about it? Is this person overreacting about it? I don't know. I'm really curious to hear what you guys think about this situation. But for me, I just know that I know a lot of people who've been handicapped growing up and stuff like that. And it was always upsetting if they couldn't get the handicapped spot. And they had to look around for parking. And, they would have a walker, a cane, a wheelchair. And they would actually not be able to even go to where they were trying to go. All because a lot of people do engage in some sort of handicap spot fraud and park there when they're not entitled to be parking there to begin with. Those handicapped people get 2 to 3 spots usually, and for everyone else, there may be 100 spots. So you going into that spot really does make a difference if there is someone who needs to go in that spot. And I know a lot of times at different businesses and stuff, there may not be anyone parked in that area, and it may look tempting to say, oh, I'm just going to run in the store for 5 minutes, but why would you do that as someone who may actually need that spot? And to make fun of people who have AIDS or to remark about it, maybe Jeffree does have AIDS, I don't know. But for him to say it as, I have AIDS, bitch, comes off as like, I'm better than you, I know more. Don't try to, wave your finger at me and tell me if I have a handicap. Oh, I actually have the worst thing you can get. I have AIDS. And to me, it just seems like it's just like irritating and disgusting how people act like that. And they act like they're better than people, they're entitled. And I really do think with Jeffree's past scandals, this is something that you guys have to bring awareness to. Just like with his racism scandal, so he can apologize. And I think that Jeffree should make a comment to the handicapped community and apologize for taking their handicapped spot, or for remarking in a negative way about someone who may have AIDS, for example. And I just really do think that Jeffree has gotten himself into a lot of hot water over the last couple years. So Does this really seem like Jeffree's being a better, bigger, honest person? Or is he going to stoop down to old behavior? His old behavior of how he used to treat people. Is the real Jeffree the person we see on YouTube? Or is it all these different accounts of other people's outside experiences with Jeffree that really show his true colors? And I'm really curious to hear what you guys think about this situation in the comment box down below. I'll be reading and responding to you guys in the comment box down below, so I'm really curious to hear what you guys think. And also make sure to share this video so other people see Jeffree Star's true colors. And also make sure to go down below and click that subscribe button as well as that little bell icon so you stay up to date on all the latest YouTube drama. I have a lot of big stories coming up that I'm going to be telling you guys that have not been told on anyone else's channel, so make sure you're subscribed and clicking that little bell icon. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up as well as to go head on over to my YouNow page and become a fan over there. You can go to younow.com/stevenmango. I do nightly live streams where I spill the tea and give you guys exclusive information that I could only tell on YouNow. So again, that's over at younow.com/stevenmango. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on my next video.